Hi, I'm Ed Amoroso from TAG Cyber, and I'm sitting here with my friend Matt Olsen, who is a senior executive with IronNet Cybersecurity.
Right,
Hey, Matt.
right. Yeah, great to be here, Ed. Thanks for having me.
You guys are down in Maryland.
Yeah, we have. We're founded in Maryland. We have our main office is in Maryland. We also have an office in Tysons Corner, Virginia.
That's fantastic. You from that area originally?
Yeah, I'm basically from Washington, D.C., one of the few people who's lived in Washington my whole life. Yeah, I worked in the government for most of my career as a result.
Were you doing cybersecurity or tech or in government? And where in government were you working?
Yeah, so I didn't start in cybersecurity. I actually am an attorney by practice. I practiced for quite a while. I'm a reformed attorney, a recovering attorney now, trying to get out of being an attorney now that I'm in a technology company. But I was actually a federal prosecutor for over a decade in Washington, running around doing homicide cases, prosecuting homicide cases and gang cases in D.C. In the 90s. And it was really after 9/11 that I got into national security work.
Yeah.
I worked at the FBI for then Director Bob Mueller at the FBI. And then worked on surveillance programs at the Department of Justice.
So you were there as that transition was being made, kind of from relative ignorance of cyber to probably one of the premier organizations, FBI and law enforcement in cyber. They really know what they're doing now.
Yeah, the FBI has come a long way and I think they're doing a great job. And so I was there during sort of some of that time, really early stages of cyber at the FBI, but I really learned about cyber when I was at the National Security Agency, because I was the general counsel at NSA, and it was there that I realized, first of all, the capabilities of the U.S. government in cyber, both to protect the country, but also to go after the bad guys outside the country. But I also saw how much cyber was sort of the legal Wild West. There weren't a lot of rules. We were trying to develop the laws and policies and regulations to help define what's our role, what's the government's role in cybersecurity as well as offensive cyber.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So what led you into, how'd you get involved in IronNet as one of the co-founders?
Yeah.
How was that transition?
Yeah, so I worked at NSA, and then I went and I ran an intelligence agency called the National Counterterrorism Center. So that's when I stopped being a lawyer. I was running an agency. It's a great agency focused on counterterrorism. But I was working throughout my time at NSA and at NCTC.
Did that include cyber as well?
It did, more focused on terrorist use of cyber as an attack vector.
Got it.
So, which has not gone that far. So sort of limited effort on cyber there. But throughout that time period, I worked with Keith Alexander when he was director of NSA. And we both sort of independently left government around the same time and decided, talking to him, to join him in starting this company.
I've been out to visit you guys a few times. I love what you're doing. I think you guys are a good example of that sort of cooperation and coordination between government and industry, right? Taking the best of government to industry and kind of the reverse. Is that one of the big themes at IronNet?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of know-how in the government, and we've got some folks who came out of the government who've dealt with big data sets, understood, for example, in supporting the warfighters in Iraq, how do you get them actionable intelligence really quickly? So you're not going back and analyzing it for days, but you're putting it in their hands in minutes and seconds. And it's that sort of mindset that I think a lot of folks coming out of the intelligence community in particular can bring to the cybersecurity problem. And that's what we're trying to harness at IronNet, in a general sense.
I've spent some nice time with your team where they've taken me through the mathematics of each of the different heuristics and algorithms. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
I guess in a sense, is that kind of the idea, like bringing analytics to a network and trying to keep up with a big, fast network? Is that like when people are thinking about IronNet? Is that the way to think about it?
That's absolutely it. It's bringing those analytics to the network in order to identify changes and potentially malicious changes in
real time.
In real time.
Yeah, right.
And the other thing,
that's the hard part,
Ed, is that's the hard part. And one thing that we've tried to build is what we call tradecraft analytics, where we combine the math, the algorithms, the just pure math ways of identifying changes with an understanding of the tradecraft. So we've got a number of folks in our company who know what the adversary is capable of. We know they understand the kill chain at a very deep level.
Lived on the other side
because
of it.
they've been on that side, right? They've been on the offense, exactly. So we can combine that level of tradecraft understanding with the math. So it's not just one or the other, but the combination of the two, where I think we really are seeing some great results.
That's cool. Now you guys have some big initiatives going on where you're collecting, is it telemetry from different companies within a sector?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, so one of our initiatives is, and something we've sort of always wanted to build toward and we're now doing, is what we call Iron Dome.
Iron Dome.
Which is really an effort to establish a common defense for a group of companies. So a set of companies in a particular sector, and we think about the critical infrastructure sectors, particularly energy, finance, healthcare, but companies coming together, running our platform, and then generating alerts to a common analytic platform where those alerts then are shared back with all of those companies. So that each company gets situational awareness. If they see something that's happening in their environment, they know right away without having to wait for a person or an email that's happening at two other companies at the same time.
How'd you convince the attorneys to do that?
Yeah, so as an attorney,
being an attorney, that probably didn't hurt.
Yeah,
right?
I've worked through hard problems like this in the government in the past, and it's really a matter of understanding what the challenges are in terms of types of information that companies are willing to share, making sure that it's not personal, it's not identifiable information, it's not proprietary.
So you aggregate and provide an aggregate view back.
That's exactly right.
No, if I get hacked, everybody else figures out that I've been hacked. That wouldn't happen.
That wouldn't happen. I mean, companies could agree to share with other companies, this is me, if they want, but basically, as it exists, it's anonymized. So a company just knows, this is other companies are seeing this same event or this same alert.
Your platform can interoperate both on the LAN and also up in the cloud and so on.
Yeah, we have a number of ways to deploy it, both on-prem and in the cloud now. So that's been the more recent development in the last year that we've developed a cloud deployment. So that's actually much easier and better for obviously a lot of middle and smaller sized companies that we're seeking to work with.
Hey, okay to talk threat a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think, man? I mean, every day it seems like nation states are getting better at this.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, so
it's
I talk about this a fair amount and sort of participate in a lot of conversations around the nature of the threat we're facing. And it does seem like, exactly what you said, Ed, we're seeing nation states improve their capabilities, and we're seeing sort of the trickle-down effect of what was once nation state capabilities now within the reach of criminal organizations and even less sophisticated actors. So I think the trend is for these capabilities to kind of get pushed downward to less sophisticated people. But the real, what we're seeing, if you just open the newspaper, whether it's Russia in our election, which I still think is, needs to be viewed as a serious national security threat.
Agree.
And needs to be taken seriously from that perspective. Even among all the political swirl, this is a national security problem.
Sure.
And they're going to do it again. They've proven they can do it, and they've gotten results. So
the scary thing is what you said earlier, that if one country can do it, then others can as well. Even to the degree that you might think of Russia, China, U.S. as essentially responsible nations, there's a lot of countries that are not responsible that probably would be unabashed about saying, yeah, I did do it.
Yeah, and it's much harder to deter those countries, right? Because they're not invested even in the same way that maybe China is in our relationship. I mean, you think North Korea in particular in that context,
we got to protect ourselves, right? I'm all in favor of diplomacy. I think that's important.
Right.
But we got to take steps to protect ourselves, because once you get an agreement with 5 nations, there's 100 others that could come after you, right? It's not, I think it's about cyber defense. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, so you can do a lot in terms of diplomacy and building norms, but at the end of the day, you're right to say that there are going to be actors, rogue actors, whether it's nations that are rogue or non-nation state actors.
3 crazy guys somewhere.
Or just a couple of guys, these asymmetric threats that we face, that you have to build in security along with the diplomacy. And so one of the things that we're doing at IronNet is really trying to build the connectivity between companies and the government. Between Keith Alexander and myself and others in our company, we've got strong connections back into the government, and we feel a real sense of purpose and mission from our government careers to really make sure that we're building that partnership, which has been hard to do, right? To get the government and the private sector to work together in a way that really achieves true security. I mean, everyone has the right intention, so I think we're going to see some progress in that in the next couple of years.
Keep doing the good stuff you're doing.
Right, great. Thanks, Ed. And thanks for all your help and support along the way.
No, I'm here. And next time you're back in New York, come back and we'll talk some more.
Will do. Okay.
Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for checking out our video. Make sure you subscribe for more of our cybersecurity content, and also make sure you visit our website. Have a great day.